Good morning. Today's topic is going to be about something that I always find very odd that people portray in movies, TV, anything, are people who only have vision in one eye. Now, they usually portray these people as people who can't walk straight, or they trip over themselves, or they can't drive, or, various comedical or downright just insulting ways. Now, as a person who only uses one eye, I kind of take a little bit of offense to this because, yes, you can drive with one good eye as long as you meet the vision requirements. No, people with one eye don't just fumble around. Yes, granted, we do have depth perception issues, but if it is something that you have learned to live with all of your life, your brain just learns to how to associate how far something is away. Now, a concept for me that I had trouble with when I was maybe a teenager, when I noticed it more, was like when you're watching a movie or something and somebody in the foreground is speaking, right? And then the background people are phased out or fuzzy. And then when the people in the background are speaking, the person in the foreground is fuzzed out. Now, see, to me, that's strange, because, to me, that is probably one of the only things that I do not have any sense of understanding, because I don't see like that, and most people who have one eye, would agree with the same thing. I do have two working eyes. I just can't use them both at the same time. I don't know. I suppose maybe it had to do with something with some of the eye surgeries I had as a kid. I don't know. It's just something I've had to live with, and I just find it really insulting that people in Hollywood just make all these, like, which character comes most to mind? There's a character in, I realize this is probably supposed to be a funny ha-ha character, but to me it comes off as really insulting. In that TV show from way back in the day, Hi, My Name is Earl, or whatever, My Name is Earl. I don't remember if it has the hi in front of it or not. Anyway, that TV show has a character in it who's a mailman, and he gets one of his eyes poked out, so now he only has one eye, right? And they continuously throughout the series, maybe this is just because it's a comedy type show, that they just over exaggerate his things. They show him stumbling, tripping over things all the time. They like, if he's got something thrown to him, he has trouble trying to catch it. But quite honestly, I don't know if that would be true or not for somebody who has lived their life mostly with using both eyes for vision, or always having two ways, seeing in 3D for most of your life, and then all of a sudden not. I don't know if that transition would be as difficult as they make that character seem, but for me, I've never had issues with, I do have issues with catching balls and things, because it's a little bit, but like I said, it's something I've had to learn over time on gauging where the ball is going to arc and where I need to be to get it. I just have to think of things a little bit differently. Like when I'm driving, I got to think of myself as, I don't know how to explain it, but there's a certain way that I know how to know where my wheels are at in my front and my back, and where my front end is on my car. They're just things that I have learned over time on how to gauge where things are for me, so I can do those things. But I guess maybe that character is just supposed to be mostly commentary, comical relief or whatever. But but to over exaggerate and to make it a funny thing is to assume, to make other people who don't understand some of the struggles it is for people who have issues with not seeing out of both eyes, or only have one eye, or various things like that. Now then they start to assume that that's how everybody is. I mean, at one point there was this person, it was on the internet, I can't remember where it was on some site, and this person made some innocent comment. They were genuinely asking about how do people who only have one eye type things out. I mean, I genuinely think they were just honestly asking the question, but in a way, it's a little bit offensive, because you think that just because you got one eye missing, your other one is, you're blind for the rest of your life? I mean, that's what half the comments on there were to this person, were, things like, just because they don't have one eye doesn't mean that they're blind. And even blind people can type with, the Braille letters and things. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just people being dumb to how their bodies work. I mean, you ask people what the difference between a vein and an artery is, and somebody who is not in school anymore, maybe in their 30s, most of them will go, like there was, I can't remember what it was. There's some video where they asked 5th grade or 4th grade questions to adults, and I actually got most of them right, because I remember doing those things with my kids, several years back. I don't have 4th or 5th grade children anymore. I mean, that was several years ago. But anyway, I'm way off topic. So people who, there's only really a couple things that bother me, and when people are just insensitive to stuff, are when you assume all Native Americans wear the Plains outfit or have artwork that looks very Navajo. When they lump all Indian people as one culture, that's offensive, and it's not really the person who's making the offense's fault. It's more of our school system's fault, because they don't teach real Native American classes in school. Like I tell my kids, I had a Native American history teacher who would slip in a Ojibwe word here and there, and I would be like, what? Because I don't really speak Ojibwe, and where I was going to school, well over 75% of the children, they do, they did. That was, that they spoke that as their main language, and English as their second language. And, it's just things like that. I was like, well, I'm not Ojibwe. I'm Dakota. My tribe is in South Dakota. So, but I don't consider myself an Ojibwe, but, interchangeably, they're not really the same. But, when like, people always assume that all Native Americans, like I had this one friend of mine, when I was working in a bakery, and he showed me a picture of one of his Native American friends getting on a horse for the first time. And his comment was meant innocently enough, but he said, I thought all Native Americans knew how to ride horses. Well, now there's another thing about history, is we didn't have horses until the Spanish came to America. So to assume that, we all inherently know how to ride horses is just idiotic and moronic. Or that we all are in tune with nature, or, stuff like that. I mean, making me celebrate Columbus Day. But anyway, this topic was supposed to be about people who only, see out of one eye. Now, for the longest time with 3D movies, I couldn't go to them. This was when I was like growing up. They had the movies where you had the blue and the red glasses. Now for me, all that gave me was seeing out, everything with a tinted red. That was it. And it didn't look 3D. It looked like, because there was two pictures overlaying each other, and I could see the two pictures. So, and then there was the early 3D where from the early 2000s that I couldn't. That gave me a headache. I couldn't watch that. I could see the two pictures, and it just gave me a massive headache. Now, I can watch the 3D movies that are now, but I don't see them 3D. It just, like, I guess it'd be considered 3D because it'll show, like, whoosh, something going by, your focus is on me, but whoosh, the hand goes by. I mean, I can tell that this is supposed to be in the foreground, but it doesn't do is it doesn't fuzz out this just to make your hand go, to make the object in front of you go by. So it doesn't look clunky, and perceptionally wise, it doesn't bother me as much. But anyway, this video is supposed to only be about 3 or 4 minutes long, and I see it's taken me almost 12 minutes of my time. Anyway, don't just assume that people who only have vision in one eye can't see, or are bumbling idiots and can't walk properly down a street. All right, bye!